Would like to call to order the June 21st, 2021 Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners regular meeting. Welcome, everyone. It is good to be back in chambers tonight. This is the first time we have been here since March of 2020. So like so many other things, it's good to be feeling a little bit normal tonight. At this time, I would ask if you would all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are very pleased to have with us tonight to bring our invocation Lonnie CLOUSE. Lonnie is a former chaplain with Motor Racing Outreach, and his current ministry is First Responders First, and he is also a chaplain for the Concord Police Department. Lonnie, thank you for being with us tonight.
My pleasure. You're welcome. Let's pray. Our Heavenly Father, we truly are grateful to live in this amazing country and to have the privilege to reside in Cabarrus County here in North Carolina. God, we acknowledge you as the giver of all good things. We thank you for the privilege to live in one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God, I pray tonight that you be with each and every one that's involved with this Board of Commissioners meeting. God, I pray that you'd continue to give them wisdom and insight as they provide services to just enhance the quality of life for those residents here in Cabarrus County. God, may you bless this time. May you keep each and every person that is involved, and may your face shine upon us this evening and for the days to come. We will give you the thanks and the praise. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Lonnie. Okay, first up is the approval or correction of the minutes, and you all have copies of those attached. Do I hear a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented, or if there are any corrections? Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. And we move to the approval of the agenda, which you also have before you. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda, including the changes on page 41? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. And we move to recognitions and presentations. First up, we have recognition of Sergeant Dennis Gray's retirement from the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Department, and we are happy to have Sheriff Van Shaw for that presentation. Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to come before you tonight. I have the honor of recognizing Sergeant Dennis Gray. His wife is with him tonight, Teresa, and we're recognizing Dennis for his upcoming retirement at the end of the month. And so he served the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office with great professionalism and pride, as well as the citizens of Cabarrus County. So we're excited for him. We hate to see him go, but he's crossing the finish line, so good for him. Just to give you a little brief background.
Can you hear me, Steve?
And Dennis came to the Sheriff's Office on July 1st of 1992 to the Communications Division of the Sheriff's Office. After a few years of serving in the Communications Division, he moved to the Patrol Division, where he worked throughout Cabarrus County, but was also assigned at one time as one of our town officers to the town of Mount Pleasant. So in 2000, Dennis was promoted to sergeant, and at that time he went back to the Communications Division to supervise the daily operations of the 911 Center. And Dennis has been serving in the Communications Division since that time, doing an outstanding job, doing a number of things. Just a couple of highlights that I wanted to point out was that Dennis also attended the National Academy of Emergency Dispatch, also completed critical incident training and incident command training at all levels, which is quite a task in and of itself. Dennis has also served with the Sheriff's Office Special Vehicle Response Team for many years and is one of the founding members of that team. That team performs search and rescue operations and missions for missing and endangered persons. So serves a very vital role. Matter of fact, they just helped with an operation in Carteret County in the Croatan National Forest, where we went to help the Carteret Sheriff's Office there in Carteret County. Dennis has also been awarded his Advanced Law Enforcement Certification by the North Carolina Sheriff's Training and Standard Division, and is also certified as a law enforcement instructor by the North Carolina Justice Academy. Dennis has been a very faithful employee, one who always has a smile on his face, is always patient. He works with us on some of our programs that we deal with, the Division of Criminal Information, different things like that that are more computer related, they're databases, and he has to have a lot of patience in dealing with some of our folks and learning to deal with that. But we're very proud of him. We're looking forward to him enjoying his retirement, and like I said, at the end of this month, he will go off into retirement, and we're excited for him. So I just wanted to come before y'all and recognize him tonight. And of course, Teresa, who's been behind him, supporting him. I always say there's one of the most important things that every law enforcement officer has is a supportive family, to understand the trials and tribulations that you go through each and every day, and the birthdays and the Christmases and all those other things you miss because you've got to be out there working, keeping folks safe. So you've done well, Dennis. We're very proud of you. Very proud of you. Congratulations. Dennis is a man of very few words, so, but thank you, Dennis. Thank y'all.
Thanks. Congratulations.
Step in here, yes. We got a little something for you. So this is a clock. Not that you're going to need one now, because you're just going to go with the flow, I would assume. But to thank you for your 29 years of service to this community and the difference that you made in the lives of many Cabarrus County people. And I can't think of a more important thing than the 911 center for people when they're calling in and know that they've got somebody on the other line that's going to help them. So thank you for taking the time and making the difference in that area for this community. To you, I would say thank you, just as Sheriff Shaw did, because obviously nobody does anything alone, and you've got to have somebody standing behind you to keep it happening. So to both of you, I wish you nothing but the best of luck, and all of the commissioners say a very big thank you. So thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant Gray, and best wishes to you. I must say you look too young to be retired. I'm sure you'll have a good time. Okay, next up we have a proclamation that I would like to read at this time, recognizing Ray Soporowski. Ray is with us, I hope, virtually. I heard him talk a little bit earlier, so hopefully the technical issues are worked out and he can hear us. But this is a retirement proclamation. Whereas it has been brought to the attention of the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners that Ray Soporowski will be retiring as the Vice President of Simon Property Group and General Manager of Concord Mills, and whereas with over 30 years of retail and property management experience, Mr. Soporowski has served Cabarrus County, the state of North Carolina, and the United States on a global professional platform. And whereas Mr. Soporowski worked diligently and played a vital role in bringing Concord Mills Mall to Cabarrus County, and whereas under Mr. Soporowski's supervision and leadership, Concord Mills has been a huge success for Cabarrus County and the state of North Carolina, and whereas Mr. Soporowski has displayed his dedication to Cabarrus County through his work with numerous nonprofit organizations, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners do hereby extend congratulations and best wishes to Ray Soporowski in his retirement and thanks him for his service to Cabarrus County. And do I hear a motion to adopt this proclamation?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. That motion passes unanimously.
I don't have
And
any discussion, but I'd like to say something.
please do.
I just wanted to take a moment to thank Ray for his service. As Chairman Morris mentioned, I've had the opportunity to work with Ray on many community efforts, and he is always willing to help. And you can imagine how many times he's hit up with the mall of, I need this, would you do this? But he has always been extremely generous and stepping up and helping this community and being involved and not just being out on exit 49 and not caring about the rest of the community. So I would thank him for his service and tell him how much we appreciate what he's done.
Great. And I hope that, I don't know if Ray is able, if he has anything that he would like to say remotely. Maybe not. But as I certainly echo what Commissioner Honeycutt has said, it's been my privilege as well to work with Ray on a number of things over the years, and I cannot minimize the positive impact that Concord Mills has had to Cabarrus County from a tourism standpoint, from a sales tax standpoint. There are just many other benefits, and of course, as I'm sure most all of you know, Concord Mills has repeatedly been recognized as the #1 tourist attraction in the state of North Carolina, and we are so happy and proud to have it here in Cabarrus County, and Ray is a big part of that, and so we very, very much appreciate what he has done for us. Okay, we move now to the informal public comment section of our meeting, and I have not had any yellow cards turned in. Is there anybody here that wishes to speak during public comment? Okay, seeing no one, we will move now to the consent agenda. Of course, all the items on our consent agenda are ones that we have discussed at length during our work session 2 weeks ago, primarily of a routine nature. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes, and we move now to new business. First up is a Cabarrus County ordinance clarification for Section 46.2, which involves the discharge of firearms, and I think Sheriff Shaw and Commissioner Strang perhaps might either both have something to say on that one.
This discussion started a while back. It's one that's been had ever since I've been in office. We have a current county ordinance in regard to the discharge of firearms that, quite frankly, is very hard to interpret. It actually takes many of the times having to go to the zoning department and ask them to do the mapping and measurements to determine whether an area of the county is a residential district. What that means is that the officer on the scene, the deputy that has come out to answer that call that is related to the discharge of firearms that they believe is unlawful or in violation of an ordinance, cannot always give an answer. It's not always clear cut that you're violating the ordinance due to a lot of factors that play in. This creates a lot of frustration on both sides because we're not able to resolve it quickly to the satisfaction of either party, to be honest with you, because we ask the party that's discharging the firearm to please stop, and we don't do any enforcement at that time because we're not 100% sure they're in violation. So the party that reported it is not happy. In meetings with Commissioner Strang, with one of the county attorneys, as well as other folks within my agency, we looked at simply making it clearer by presenting or suggesting that we move to a straight line distance measurement from a residential or occupied business structure. So it's simply a matter of feet. And we can measure that a number of different ways, by a roller measure or by Google Maps or GIS. There's a number of tools at hand where we can get that resolution very quickly on the scene for both parties. And so would be able to clear. I think it's a good move. It doesn't change anything distance-wise. We did have some folks under the old ordinance that were adversely affected because it drew properties in that otherwise that person would not be violating the ordinance, but because we created this residential district, it drew in a property that was outside the limit. So it was very confusing. We've had many discussions about this in consultation with not only with commissioners, the attorneys, as well as the DA's office, to really simplify it for everyone to be able to understand it, and I think really resolve some disputes that are out there. So I recommend, from a law enforcement standpoint, the change to the ordinance, and would ask that it be considered by the commissioners.
Thank you very much. Any questions for Sheriff Shaw? We did discuss this pretty much in depth at our work session 2 weeks ago, and I've been involved in discussions in years past about this as well, so I'm, for one, happy to, as it sounds like you are, to get clarification
Yes.
On that. Thank you. Do I hear a motion, Commissioners, to approve the clarification for Section 46-2 of the Cabarrus County Ordinance?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Next up is item G2, Academic Learning Center grant request, and I think Rodney Harris is going to talk with us about that one.
Good evening. So I may be talking to you. We're supposed to be joined by Mr. Gerald Lundy from Bethel Baptist. So let's see if he is on the line. Oh, there he is. He's in the building.
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Afternoon. One or the other?
One or the other. Chairman, County Commissioners, on behalf of the Bethel Enrichment Center, affiliated with Bethel Baptist Church, we have partnered with the Academic Learning Center to come in. We hold a summer camp every year at the Enrichment Center. Our mission is to impact the community profoundly, which I believe we have done in several aspects in regards to scholarships and feeding programs and things of that nature. And last year, the Chamber announced that we were the 2019 Nonprofit of the Year. So this year, Terry Cheney from the Academic Learning Center came in and wanted to talk with me in regards to partnering with her organization, bringing in teachers to teach at our Bethel Enrichment Center summer camp. Our summer camp normally has over 100 students each summer. We're in a poverty-stricken area, and so with what has happened with the pandemic and COVID-19, our students probably haven't received the type of education they normally would receive when in school. So with the Academic Learning Center, they talked to us about bringing in teachers for 2 hours a day during the week to teach our students, to try to bring them up to speed in reading and math. And so I agreed, and Next thing I know, I'm talking to you guys. Is there anything, any questions or anything that I'm supposed to answer? I'm not sure.
Any questions, commissioners? I can certainly say that I think this is an excellent opportunity, not only for the excellent program that you are already conducting, but the Academic Learning Center, I think, to partner with that is the kind of collaboration that we like to see. It's my honor to serve on the board of the Academic Learning Center, so I am very familiar with their activities. They do a wonderful job in tutoring throughout the school year, and certainly have tried to adapt during this past unusual year that we've all gone through.
Right.
So I, for one, would like to say thank you for working with them on behalf of the children.
No
So,
doubt, no doubt.
commissioners, if there are no other questions, do I hear a motion to approve a grant of $6,500 to the Academic Learning Center from remaining Coronavirus Relief Fund nonprofit funding?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That passes unanimously. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is acquisition of real property for some parcels on Cabarrus Avenue, and County Manager Mike Downs will talk with us about that.
Yeah. Come on up, Kyle. Kyle's going to assist us with this. You got the map.
Good evening. County staff have identified the need to acquire two houses located at 436 and 442 Cabarrus Avenue West in Concord. Acquisition and demolition of these two homes will facilitate construction of the Emergency Equipment Warehouse and Information Technology Services Building on the adjacent parcel. So this is right across the street from the IM Op Center. We did discuss this with you previously, and this is the agreement that has been put in place by the county attorney and worked out with our real estate consultant and broker.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Billefer?
Kyle, I do have one.
Yes,
It's
sir. go
probably
ahead.
going to be the same thing that somebody else was going to ask, but when we talked about this originally, you said something about that the current owner might want to do something with the houses. I noticed in this proposal here that it's to demolish.
The owner was given several weeks to look at trying to relocate those houses, and they came back and told us that that would not be an option. I never spoke to the owner directly. That was through the real estate consultant. And we did give them permission to take any of the systems out of the buildings. And this will allow us to deal with some setbacks that you have from Cabarrus Avenue and also from some of the residents next door. So providing those setbacks, that we'll need to put in the size parking lot that'll facilitate that building. When we first started a year ago, it was just an emergency equipment warehouse, so pull in, pull out, everything's stored inside. With moving the ITS building over there, you're going to need a considerable amount of parking, and this allows us to get that parking in there and also maintain the setbacks that we're required to have.
Any other questions? I think this solves this is another problem that this will solve that we've been talking about for quite a few years for that emergency equipment warehouse.
It'll allow us to consolidate all of that equipment from our public safety groups, from our 3 public safety groups, and get them out of volunteer fire stations and other locations where they're out in the weather and get them all inside. So we're about halfway through the true design process of both the ITS building and the emergency equipment warehouse. We're down to the nuts and bolts of what type of electrical hookups does each trailer need and kind of all the nitty-gritty stuff. So we're getting there.
Any other questions? Okay, at this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the purchase of parcels 56204483470000 and 5620-4473-840000 from E3 Catalyst, and authorize the county manager to negotiate and execute the contract on behalf of Cabarrus County, subject to review or revisions by the county attorney.
Mr. Chairman, has the contract not already been negotiated? Aren't we approving the final purchase?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, the verbiage in the motion says negotiate. Do we?
It's been negotiated.
It's been negotiated, yes. Sorry, that's my fault on that submission.
Okay, so then we would reword that motion to just say to execute the contract
Correct.
on behalf of Cabarrus County, subject to review or revisions by the county attorney.
So moved.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next up is acquisition of real property again, and County Manager
We're gonna do this one, yeah.
Downs will talk with us about that one.
We talked to you in your work session about securing property in the town of Mount Pleasant. It is located at, it's a portion of 1150 B Street. And for the construction of a new park, or actually for the relocation of the ball fields that are behind the Mount Pleasant Middle School. In addition to that, we hope to add potentially a library/senior center. So this will allow us to potentially, if everything works out, to relocate the existing Mount Pleasant Library to this site and provide a larger space for the library, and then also relocate the senior center in Mount Pleasant, which is adjacent to Town Hall. And so we would have a combined library, senior center on the property, 3 baseball fields, and 2 multipurpose fields for soccer, football, whatever that they choose to do, picnic shelter, and the associated parking to go with them. We have worked with Mr. Foyle. He has agreed to sell the parcel. Lauren, can you pull the picture up on that one? I think it's the last sheet on this file. There it is. As we said, this is on, at Cook Street, dead ends into this, and it's at Washington Street, or Washington Avenue there, the shaded gray area there, where that particular piece right there. It's completely lined on the perimeter by trees. It's a beautiful piece of property and a perfect location to provide these amenities for the town of Mount Pleasant. And again, we will have funds or proceeds from selling the property at the middle school itself, the ball fields that are currently being used, when we will sell those as well, with your permission. And then also, once we are able to construct the library and senior center, we will potentially sell the existing library as well. So the proceeds from those will help go to pay for a portion of this project. It won't pay for all of it, but it'll help us out tremendously. So we're not quite sure. We've agreed, so we're asking you to allow me to negotiate. We have negotiated at $36,000 an acre, and that would include up to 30 acres, or we're not quite sure. We haven't surveyed it yet, so we will go back once you give us permission to go forward. We will bring in a surveyor to actually survey the piece. We think it is somewhere between 27 acres and 30 acres. We have had some preliminary drawings, and hopefully at our work session next month, we'll bring you some drawings of those fields and the library senior center on the property, so that we can show you that it does fit there. And then we will proceed after that to design with your permission. So any questions on that? We did talk about it at the work session. Mr. Foyle has been a willing participant in this, and is looking forward to seeing these amenities go on his property. So it is part of a large farm that he's allowing us to purchase, so. Any questions? Great.
Okay, thank you. This is certainly, we've talked about the very tight area that the current ball fields are on, and so this is a wonderful opportunity to correct some of those issues and offer some additional opportunities.
And just the reason why we're looking to relocate the library is because it's very small, and it has maxed out its capacity. And that library, while it is small and it is in the town of Mount Pleasant, that entire community in the unincorporated areas of the northeast part of the county uses that, so it's been full. And the existing design was not optimal in its current state to allow free flow and to allow multiple programs within the building. So the new design will be much appreciated and work much better, so. But in the requested action, we have negotiated the $36,000, so.
Great. Any other questions or comments? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the purchase of 30 plus or minus acres with frontage on Washington Street in Mount Pleasant of tax parcel 08-008-0005.00 from William E. Fall, and authorize the county manager to negotiate and execute the contract on behalf of Cabarrus County, subject to review or revisions by the county attorney.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just one, Mr. Chairman, and that is, we had talked briefly, Mike, about the present use value. Was that part of this, of the 36,000?
Originally, we negotiated at 35. There were some other expenses
I
that
was
wanted
just
to be
checking my
covered.
memory.
Yeah, there were some other expenses that Mr. Foyle was going to have, so he asked us to go with 36,000 to make it whole for him.
Well, that's good. I, for one, am so glad to see this take place for the citizens of Mount Pleasant, for the friends of the Mount Pleasant Library, all those that work so hard to get a better facility for their people. And Mike, I appreciate you and whoever helped you be persistent and diligent to help find some property that would be suitable. And I think that's a prime piece of property. We'll have it all right there together, and I think it'll work out really good. So I'm just real happy that we could get this worked out.
It's been a group project of all of us trying to get this done, so it's worked out very well. We appreciate Mr. Foyle for being a willing participant in this project. So.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. And we move now to item 5, revenue budget revisions. And I think Rodney Harris will talk with us about those.
So as we near the end of the fiscal year, we have identified some additional revenues that we want to go ahead and appropriate and move to a capital projects fund for future use. And so the budget amendment before you appropriates about $5.65 million of additional sales tax revenue, and then $5.9 million of additional property tax revenue. And so we're asking for your approval of that tonight.
Right. Questions for Rodney? Okay. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the associated budget amendment and project ordinance to accomplish what Rodney just described to us.
I moved.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Thank you. Next up is item 6 from Infrastructure and Asset Management, resolution for conveyance of 242 General Services Drive facility to the City of Concord.
Good evening again. During the May 17th, 2021 Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners meeting, the board approved the motion to authorize the county manager to negotiate the sale of the building with the city of Concord. This is the former building that housed infrastructure and asset management located at 242 General Services Drive. Good news is there's not a PIN associated with it because it's the entire parcel, so you won't have to read that out tonight.
That makes me happy.
Yeah, I know. Well, you were going for a lot of them, so I tried to spare you. A resolution for the sale of the facility has been drafted by the Cabarrus County Deputy Attorney and is attached with this agenda item. Exhibit A attached to the agenda item illustrates the facility being conveyed. And that's probably the only clear way to describe it because it is such a larger parcel with other operations that both we and the city have on that parcel. The requested action is the motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the county manager to execute the contract between the city of Concord and Cabarrus County for the sale of the county facility at 242 General Services Drive, subject to review and revision by the county attorney. And the resolution is attached.
Right. Want me to read the resolution? If it's either way, I can, or you get in there. Yeah, there you go. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, well, I'll go ahead and read the resolution, and then we'll go for questions. Whereas Cabarrus County owns the Cabarrus County General Services Building and its associated improvements and fixtures located at 242 General Services Drive Southwest, Concord, North Carolina, 28025. And whereas the Cabarrus County General Services Building is located on land owned by the city of Concord, which is identified as 244 Betsy Carpenter Place Southwest, Concord, North Carolina, 28025. Does have a PIN number, Kyle. PIN 553-934-743-90000. And whereas General Statute 160A-274 authorizes a government unit to sell any other governmental unit any interest in real or personal property upon such terms and conditions as the governmental unit deems wise, with or without consideration. And whereas Cabarrus County has determined that the Cabarrus County General Services Building is surplus, it is in the best interest of the county to convey the building to the city of Concord, and it is wise to do so for $570,803. Now therefore, the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners resolves that Cabarrus County conveys to the city of Concord, which the size just changed on me, the following property: Cabarrus County General Services Building and its associated improvements and fixtures located at 242 General Services Drive, Southwest, Concord, North Carolina, 28025, which the Cabarrus County Tax Assessor Office has identified as Building 2 at 244 Betsy Carpenter Place, Southwest, Concord, NC, PIN 553-934-743-90000, and is identified in Exhibit A. The property herein described shall be conveyed for $570,803. The county manager or his designee may execute all documents necessary to convey the property in the manner authorized by this resolution, adopted this 21st day of June, 2021. And so, Commissioners, do I hear a motion to adopt this resolution?
Motion for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? And of course, you do see the map included in your agenda as well as with the one we saw on the screen. So all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Thank you. Okay, we move now to item 7 from Planning and Development, the 2020-2022 Weatherization Amendment. Kelly Sifford is with us for that item.
Thank you. I appreciate you all accommodating me, the county manager, and Lauren's patience in getting this added to the agenda. I did receive this morning from the state, and they wanted it back by Friday, so we had to rush to add this to the agenda. So what this actually does is combine 2 years' worth of funding. So we had $116,295 that was expended during the previous year. The additional $76,156 is being added to that to make one contract. The reason being is many of the agencies who provide weatherization service could not meet their obligations with average cost per unit because they weren't able to finish things, so they had things open. So it kind of violated the rules. So this was the state's response and an ability to give everybody a chance to get back within their required average cost per unit. We were within ours, but not everybody was. So this is the response to that. So that is simply all this does, is it's our regular funding that we would have received in the year, but it's just combining 2 contracts to do that.
Excellent. Any questions for Kelly? And so I am assuming, and I do not have it in front of me, that the motion that you need here, you got it, is just to adopt the proposed budget amendment as you've described.
It's with the many line items. It's all the various expense line items for that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. That motion passes. Thank you. Okay, and we move now to item G8, which is the adoption of the fiscal year 22 budget. And I will turn that over to County Manager Mike Downs.
Well, we have come to the end of the journey. And so we are recommending, based on the conversations at the work session, the changes in the ordinance, the numbers that are, so we are requesting that you hold a public hearing and address any of the questions there. And the 6:30, I've already passed the 6:30, we're good there, is that right? Yep, no public. Okay, that's right, we already did that.
We had public hearing at our work
Yeah.
session. Yeah.
So we are asking you to approve all of the ordinances, or all of the amendments to the, I take that back, sorry about that. The general fund for this ensuing year is $297,161,486. And the community investment fund is the $65,850,785. Cabarrus Arena and Event Center fund is $1,942,821. The landfill fund is $2,077,563. The 911 emergency telephone fund is $692,666. The social services fund is $400,000. The intergovernmental fund is $2 million. The health and dental insurance fund is $14,530,063. Workman's compensation and liability fund is $2,445,994. Fire tax district funds is $5,909,748. And the grand total of all funds is $393,011,126, with the tax rate remaining the same at 74 cents. And it will be multiple, Lauren, have you got it set up for one motion, or have you got it set up for 3? It's one motion. One motion for all ordinances, okay?
Okay.
All right? Right.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Does that complete
it.
your comments?
Yes, sir. Unless you have any questions or comments, or we will
Any
address those.
questions for the county manager?
No questions, and I think we some of the other commissioners made some comments previously, and I didn't, so I was going to take a minute to say, and you said the journey was over. I'm still floored. I mean, I've been here now 4 years, 5 years, 4 years, that the journey starts in October. I mean, that is absolute, it's incredible that it takes that much effort to get everybody to pull the wagon in the same direction. And it's not that nobody wants to pull the wagon, it's just that hard to do, and you guys work extraordinarily hard to do that. And, you know, we get the somewhat easy part, but to at least review it at the top level and ask questions and find things that interest us, but you guys have to dig down to the nitty-gritty, and we are so grateful that you and your team do such a good job. So I just wanted to formally say thank you, and not to jump on anybody else making comments, but we'll make a motion to adopt the budget ordinance for fiscal year '22.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or discussion?
Yeah, I just have a concern. I'm fine with the budget itself. It's the rate. I wish we could have done a little bit better at dropping that rate down in light of, you know, since the board we've insured the citizens to keep the rate low, and over the past several years, we've seen two tax increases as well as a reevaluation. And all this was, you know, the reevaluation was going on during COVID times, which has put a, significant financial burden on many citizens as a result of that. So I wish we could have considered decreasing the property taxes in light of the surplus based on the property and sales taxes that we've received thus far.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? I'll just expand on what Commissioner Kiger said. I think it's been a very thorough process, and having observed it many times, I think it went better this year than most. The average citizen does not realize that it does begin in October, and how many meetings we have, how many opportunities that we provide amongst this board to express any concerns or ask any questions or make any adjustments that we might feel appropriate. And then I think I liked the procedure that we followed this year, giving an earlier opportunity for the public to come in. The public hearing that we had at our work session gave them an opportunity to express concerns. Kasha and her team did an excellent job with Government 101, putting on the workshop on the budget, and I was delighted to participate in that, and just really gratified that there were citizens in the county that took the time out of their day to come and spend an entire day with us talking about the budget. And so I think the thing that most impresses me about it is the transparency piece. And that's not just in this vote that we're taking today or in this discussion that we're having today. That persists throughout the year. And hopefully citizens here in Cabarrus County can feel free to contact any of us or staff anytime during the year to ask for any explanation that they might have about the budget or any item in the budget. And we work real hard, I think staff works real hard, to try to answer those questions in advance or make that information accessible, available, so folks will know what we are doing on their behalf as their government. And so, you know, hopefully I'm sure there may be some areas we can improve, and I hope that folks will step up and talk to us about those, if there are any. So any other, Commissioner Shute?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've been serving on this board since 2014, and prior to that, for quite a few years on the school board. And one of the issues that we've had, the schools had, the county commission has had, was the deferred maintenance list that we've had with schools for years and years and years. And we could appropriate money in the past, a small amount of money, because there wasn't a lot of money available that was not already prior appropriated. So to address Commissioner Strang's concern about the potential reduction in the tax rate, well, that would be all well and good, but the problem with that is that we're in a situation now where we can stop kicking the can down the road on deferred school maintenance. I think we've appropriated, if I'm not mistaken, it's several million in this budget, which we haven't been able to do that in the past. All we've been able to do is, put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound, you might say, because we couldn't fix what needed to be fixed. But this particular budget allows us to address those issues with the schools. And I don't think it would be fair to our citizens to continue kicking the can down the road with these items that need to be fixed. And so this is going to help us do that. And so I, for one, of all the budgets that I've looked at, been a part of, I tell you, if there was a rating higher than 100 plus, then I would give that to you guys, because I think it was just that strong of a budget. It hit every area that pertains to citizens and help improve the quality of life for Cabarrus County to meet the needs. Just even tonight, earlier, we're talking about the area, the land in Mount Pleasant. This budget that we approved has set aside money for the Afton Village area, in that area there, for a public library along with the senior center. And of course, it takes money to do all of those things. And if you don't have the money, what do we end up doing? Kicking the can down the road. So this budget has allowed us to stop kicking the can down the road. So I, for one, appreciate all you've done, County Manager Downs and the rest of the staff, for working on it, coming from our finance department all the way down to David, our tax guy there. Everybody working in a positive way. And that's how you get things done, people, is everybody pulling up their bootstraps, working together, and move this county forward. And it just makes me feel real proud to be a part of all of this. And so I thank you for all that you do and all you've done.
Great. Thank you very much. Any other comments?
I would like to make one. Thank you for those comments, and thank you for the review of the last few weeks. But I do want to recognize Rodney. Rodney has done a fantastic job. Rosh in here? Yeah, there's Rosh. In his first one here in North Carolina, he's gone through, and they had Yesenia and Ellie, the four of them, along with all of our department heads and many other employees throughout the year of running down information and trying to figure out what needs to go in, what doesn't need to go in. But I did want to recognize Rodney and Rosh and Yesenia and Elia. They did a fantastic job pulling all this stuff together and making it work and bringing it to you guys. So,
great. Thank you.
Rich, the motion is in here. Is that a sufficient motion, or do we need to? You're good. Okay, good.
Great. Commissioner Honeycutt.
I was just going to do the same, say thank you. So Mike covered everybody. And with that, to Commissioner Strang's comments, I mean, it's such a challenge, because this community is one of the fastest growing communities around, and I don't think that's going to stop. And as that continues, we're required to build more schools. And so we have not just the deferred maintenance, but we have the capital expense for those buildings, and we continue to land bank, but we can't hardly land bank before we have to turn around and build on it. And, so finding tracts of land for schools and thinking about the future is a challenge. And through COVID, I'm just grateful that, that we came through COVID without being in the hole or anything of that nature, because who knew when this first started where we were going to end up. But I don't see that this community is probably going to quit growing. And I don't know how we'll ever be able to, do what we're supposed to do and be able to find much of a cut that's going to make an impact. I could be wrong. I hope I'm not, because if so, that means things have really gone the wrong way. But with that said, to be able to do these things and provide the services, like to the different communities, a lot of times those would be the things that would go first, because they're not absolutely required, but they're part of quality of life that you want people to have in the different communities. And of course, I don't know about you guys, but my utilities aren't going down, and my labor is not going down, and cost on materials is not going down, and it's certainly not going down for the county as well. And so, you know, to be able to meet everything that comes along, it's a real challenge. So I was just happy that we were able to stay flat. So that may be not the right way to look at it, but, you know, from a realistic perspective and where we are, that tends to be mine, so.
Thank you.
And I want to say a couple more little things if I can. I won't take up too much time, but when we're talking about what we've accomplished in this budget, you know, you guys can look across the street, everybody that comes downtown, you know, we're building a new courthouse, and it's long overdue. And of course, it takes money to do that. And we're also working on a new emergency management setup out on Cabarrus Avenue, the new asset infrastructure management, that's out there. These things were long overdue, way past due already. And somehow we found a way to do this. I mean, you can look around and see pretty easy of what all has taken place in the last several years. This stuff don't just happen overnight. It's taken years and years to plan for the courthouse. It was one of the topics whenever I came on the board in 2014, talking about a new courthouse. Well, you see, it's going up and it's moving at a rather fast pace. And so, you know, there's a lot more to come, and it takes revenue to do that. And I'm thankful to the citizens of Cabarrus County that I don't think that we've had any complaints of anybody coming in and saying, you know, don't want you to do this, don't want you to do that, because they see the need. I see the need, we see the need. And like County Manager Down said, you know, Rodney, you sure have been a real asset to this, to staff and, you know, your work and all that you do. You've really been a real asset. And then bring Wendy, all of you new guys. It's just been great. So that's all I had. So anyway.
Great, thank you. And you mentioned the courthouse, which is what I can see looking straight out the window here. So certainly thinking about that, and you know, as you mentioned, the other projects that we're involved in, it's a lot. We've got a lot going on, and when you try to determine, you know, do we truly need these things? And I think the courthouse is a good example. I've said quite a few times, I wish we didn't need to build that courthouse. I can think of a lot of other things that we'd love to build, new recreational opportunities, the list goes on of things in the county. But when you stop and look at that and look at our EMS headquarters, look at our infrastructure and asset management building, the other things, I'm reluctant to say, but when to date myself, but when I graduated from college, the current courthouse was brand new. And I think the population of Cabarrus County at that time was right about 75,000 people. Today, our population, we built that courthouse for a population of 75,000 people with some expansion space, which we have long ago used up. And then today, we have 220,000 people approximately in Cabarrus County. So if you get right down to it, I'm pretty amazed we managed to make it last as long as we did. So fortunately, I think hopefully the people of Cabarrus County, we haven't heard a lot of negativity because they understand why we have to embark on these projects, and so I feel like we've gotten a lot of support for that.
And that's another one like the schools that we are required.
Oh, yeah,
to
we have
provide
no
the-
choice in
right,
that, exactly.
To provide the building for the courthouse and the
Right,
judges. And
right.
we're short courtrooms for judges, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. If we could just get everybody to follow the law and they wouldn't ever need to go to court, we wouldn't have to worry about that. But we could say that about a lot of things. Okay, any other discussion? If not, you have a motion before you to adopt the budget ordinance for the year,
Fiscal year 22.
fiscal year 22. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. Okay, that motion passes 4-1. Okay, and that completes our business for tonight, and we move to reports. So at this time, we will receive updates from commission members who serve as liaisons to municipalities or on various other boards and committees. Does anyone have it? Yes, ma'am.
I would just say from the CVB perspective, which is our Convention Visitors Bureau, they're starting to see a pickup in activity and in the average daily rates, so things are beginning to pick up a little bit. People are looking out toward the group and convention travel more to, I believe, 23, but the vacation and the, more local things are picking up, so that's good. And then we had the senior advisory meeting today, and they are working on a plan to get the senior center reopened as soon as possible. There are parts of that open now, certain classes that you can go on and reserve a place for, and so that's it for me.
Great, thank you. Any other reports?
Quick report from the Youth Commission. We will not have any Youth Commission over the summer. They will resume at the beginning of the new school year. They are actively looking for new members for the Youth Commission, quite a few, as a matter of fact. Several of them have graduated and moved out, and we have several schools that don't have representation, and they'd like to really build that. So just for the viewing public, please consider that. Have your students consider that over the summer. They do a lot of fun, interesting events throughout the year, and I believe they do have a fair booth this year, so if you have other questions, you can reach out to them at the fair.
Great, thank you. Any other reports? Okay, I will mention that we always have openings on various boards and committees, that we would encourage any citizens that have interest to contact our board clerk, Lauren Linker. I think there are some lists available on our webpage, and she's certainly glad to help you with that also. Any other general comments by board members? If not, we do have need of a closed session tonight, so at this time I would entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss matters related to pending litigation, economic development, and acquisition of real property as authorized by North Carolina General Statute 143-318.11 A, 4, and 5. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, no. We are now in closed session. We thank all of you that have joined us on television as well as in the chambers tonight.